Welcome to Headcanon Fodder, a collection of musings, theories, and random stuff about media. This time I'm asking the big questions like, who fathered the newborn in Alien Resurrection? Before I begin, if you like the video, please give me a like, sub, hit any bells in grabbing distance, and maybe think about supporting the channel via Patreon or Ko-fi. I promise I'll always deliver videos as vital as this, or just leave a comment. YouTube likes it when you do, and I read them all. Anyway, a while back, I did a couple of videos with thoughts and theories about the original Alien movies. One about how xenomorphs aren't the only alien species humanity has met, and the other about the role of the colonial marines. I always planned to do some more videos like that, but I never thought a good subject matter, until now. I was on a podcast about Alien Resurrection a few weeks back, and when rewatching the film in preparation, I had a realization in the form of a question. Who fathered the newborn? The alien-human hybrid that went on a rampage at the end of the film? I came up with an answer in Alien Resurrection, but decided to rewatch some other films to make sure there's no other possibilities. I've thought of one other possibility, with subsections, but it is kinda dumb, so I'll start with that. First possibility, Ripley was pregnant before she died. Now, I'm pretty sure if you cloned a pregnant person, the zygote wouldn't be cloned, but I'm not a biologist, so correct me if I'm wrong about that. But the future cloning in Alien movies clearly don't work that way because they were able to clone the alien queen that Ripley was implanted with. So this idea is stupid, but it's exactly the sort of stupid that Alien Resurrection already is. Anyway, I'm thinking that it's maybe possible that Ripley was pregnant and the zygote was somehow transferred to the now part human alien queen, in the same mechanism that made Ripley part alien, and no one noticed until it was too late. But that's why it seems pretty unlikely. There's no way that it'd go unnoticed. The Queen was literally being studied. But assuming that the scientists on board the Auriga are about as incompetent as the average scientist in a later Alien movie, and that happened, who would be the father? Technically, it could be almost anyone. She could have had a one-night stand in Gateway Station in Aliens, for instance. But let's limit this to named characters. 1. Dallas. Ripley and Dallas had sex in a deleted scene in Alien. It was never filmed, but part of that scene was part of Sigourney Weaver's screen test.
Look, I need some relief.
Why'd you wait until now?
In an earlier version of the script, the crew of the Nostromo were much more casually sexual with each other. The idea was that society had evolved to have less hang-ups.
I'm tired of talking.
There's no reason to assume that cryosleep affects fetuses, and we don't know how long Ripley was on Gateway Station. I would assume a few weeks or a few months. So if Dallas got her pregnant, and if she didn't spend a huge amount of time at Gateway Station, there's no reason to assume that she'd be showing with the end of Alien 3. Remember Aliens, the non-Gateway Station part, and Alien 3 take place, from Ripley's point of view, over a very short period of time, like a few days. The main problem with Dallas being the father is the older the fetus, the less likely it would be to transfer to the Queen, I assume, just based on relative size. And let's be honest here, if she was pregnant, it would have been brought up at Gateway Station. And she's hardly going to be able to get through all the official stuff and get a job in a couple of weeks. So, no. Anyway, 2. Hicks. There's no evidence that they had sex, but they did have chemistry, and they were getting slightly coupley in the midpoint of the film. So I'm thinking it's not impossible, but pretty unlikely. If that happened, I'm putting it either after the sentry guns were set up, when they were feeling at their most secure, or after the gun demonstration, when they're at their most coupley.
I can handle myself.
Yeah, I noticed.
If she got pregnant, then the zygote would be some weeks or months younger than with Dallas, so I'm thinking there's more chance that I could somehow transfer to the Queen in cloning, by whatever process that involves. But there's no evidence that they actually had sex, so no. Anyway, and 3. Clemens. Now on paper, this is the most likely because they actually had sex, but I'm pretty sure the blood samples that Ripley was cloned from happened before that. Okay, so if other samples were taken off screen by someone else for some reason, he's the most likely? Not exactly. It takes about 6 days to actually become pregnant, and Alien 3 is vague about exactly how long stuff is taking, but this seems very unlikely. Anyway, for Clemens to be the father of the newborn, they need to wait 6 days after they had sex, take more blood tests for no reason, have a non-doctor do it and not fuck up storage, and for magic to happen, it's either the day-old fetus is cloned, or the sperm is. Even though that's impossible, somehow transferring it to the Queen's now human reproductive system.
A human reproductive system.
So no. I am so glad this is not my theory. So now that I've established that the alternative is pretty dumb, who do I think the father is? Gettman.
So, we're a fast learner.
He's a creepy little gremlin scientist man with a passionately weird affection for the aliens, and the Queen in particular. And I'm thinking that during study he noticed her human reproductive system and decided to run his own little experiment by adding a sperm to it. In whatever form you think that means.
And now she is perfect!
This would explain some minor questions about the film, slight plot holes, that kind of thing. For instance, why do the xenomorphs keep him alive and pinned up to the wall of the nest, unfacehugged? Because the Queen somehow realizes that he's the father, and she's trying to show human affection for him in the only way she knows how, by keeping him close and safe. It also explains Gettman's attitude to the newborn.
You are a beautiful, beautiful butterfly.
He's not gone crazy. Okay, he has, but not just that. He just thinks he's in no danger because he's his father. And lastly, it explains why the aliens waited ages and arbitrarily broke out when they did. I mean, something changed. To begin with, the xenomorphs weren't happy, but they were okay-ish with being imprisoned, the Queen was safe, and they were getting facehugger victims. They knew they could escape at any time. They could have escaped at any time before that. So something had to make them want to escape. Like maybe it was instinct, to create the hive, because the clutch of eggs had created their xenomorphs. But Purvis was still there, being unchest-bursted. So I don't think it's that. So what changed to inspire the escape? The pregnancy. Gettman inseminated the Queen, and at some point in the pregnancy got far enough along that the Queen was in distress, and her warriors needed to help her. Hence the breakout. And this also works if Gettman's not the father. Like I said, this answers some questions. I'm sure it wasn't intended, because in the original script the Queen was self-inseminating. Gettman had a big speech about it while he was cocooned, and he was being kept alive so his blood could somehow assist the birth of the newborn. But none of that's in the finished film, though. Plus, Joss Whedon's original script had Gettman as a young, enthusiastic scientist who just goes a bit nuts. Kind of understandable, really. This is why Wren says that the company was before his time.
Oh, they went under decades ago, Gettman, way before your time. Bought out by Walmart.
When Wren's clearly only a couple of years older than Gettman. J.E. Freeman was 4 years older than Brad Dourif. So hilariously, this theory that works so well at patching up a couple of very light issues with the film is only possible because Jeunet cast Dourif, and Dourif made the guy so weird and creepy that you can take one look at him and conclude that, yeah, that guy would totally have sex with the alien Queen. Anyway, that's my theory for who fathered the newborn, Gettman. And there are much worse fathers to have if you're going to be a deranged but childlike murder monster. It even looks a bit like Brad Dourif, doesn't it? Oh, and if you have a subject you want me to do a Headcanon Fodder about, you can make a request on Patreon. My Leprechaun and Blair Witch videos were requests, and I'm happy to tackle whatever.